What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a Trade Talk video here on Blazers Uprise. I'm Eric Brandt. In today's video, we are going to be going through some next team if traded odds for certain players in the NBA. This will be brought to you by BetUS, which I'll get to in a moment. Unfortunately, they do not currently have odds for Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Grant, or any Trailblazers. But the Blazers themselves do appear on a few of these in the odds, so we'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk how, if some of these players are traded to other teams, how it affects the Blazers trade market and all that. But before I get started, this video, like I mentioned, is brought to you by BetUS. BetUS is your best sportsbook for having a variety of betting options. They're reliable and secure. They have excellent customer service. And the best part, if you sign up using the link down below in the description, you get a 125% match on your first deposit. So free money into your account just by using the link below. We have the Super Bowl coming up next weekend, so you definitely want to get in on that. There's all kinds of fun prop bets for the Super Bowl, and of course you can bet on the game itself. And then we have these trade odds. Everything I'm going to mention in this video is on BetUS that you can bet on yourself. Whether you agree with my analysis or you see a team that you are interested in and you think have really good odds and you can win some money on that, I strongly suggest using BetUS for all your gambling needs. All right, the first player we're going to talk about is Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors. Now, he's had a very down year. It's rumored that Golden State is looking to possibly move on from him and get someone that's could be a little more reliable, or that they can get something more out of. Wiggins also has a long-term contract, so they're looking to get out of a little bit of long-term salary as well. So let's take a look at the odds for Andrew Wiggins. As we bring this up here, the Toronto Raptors are plus 300 to land him. So the lower the number, if it's a negative number, that means they're like a heavy favorite. If it's a plus number, the lower the number, the closer they are to the favorite. So if you look down, second from the bottom, Atlanta Hawks have plus 200. So that means they are the favorites to land Andrew Wiggins. And then you got a couple of teams like the Pacers and the Raptors, like I mentioned, at plus 300, Cavs at plus 400. All those teams potentially could be looking for a small forward like Andrew Wiggins, maybe a change of scenery they think will do well for him. But yeah, the Raptors, maybe it's just a Canada thing. I'm not sure why they would really trade for him or what they would give up. The Cavs are still looking to solidify that 3 spot, but they're going to have trouble trading salary to match that. We see the Portland Trailblazers there at plus 900. And I believe this only shows up because the Blazers are in a spot where in a rebuild, they might be taking on bad contracts for assets. So if there's another team involved that the Warriors like a player from, but they don't want Wiggins, maybe they call the Blazers and see if they can get something done there, because maybe there's a player in the Blazers they do want. For this year, though, the Blazers do have quite a bit of salary. They're not really pushing the luxury tax, but they're close enough to not be able to take on a ton of salary in a trade. So I think the Blazers for Wiggins, I'm not sure that plus 900 is a good value bet. A team like the Memphis Grizzlies, maybe pushing their chips into next year, wouldn't really care how Wiggins did this year. Yeah, other than that, I forgot to mention earlier, the Mavericks are also plus 200, so they're right there with the favorites of the Hawks. And the Mavericks are a team that has been often mentioned with the Wiggins sweepstakes, if you want to call it that. Atlanta has a lot of players. Bogdanovich, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter. They have a lot of contracts. DeJounte Murray. So I think they're listed pretty highly because of that. So I don't really have a good feel for where Wiggins would be traded. So I'm not really sure where to go with this one. But there's lots of teams, some decent odds there if you see any you like. All right, next up we got Zach Lavine of the Chicago Bulls. Now it was just announced that he will be out for the rest of the year. So I think this is going to drastically change the odds. But there might be some teams out there that don't care that he's hurt because they're out of the playoff race, a la the Detroit Pistons. So let's take a look at the odds here for Lavine and see what's cooking there. So it's a long list here. Your Portland Trailblazers are actually plus 7,000 to land him. I don't think that's a good bet. I would be absolutely shocked if the Blazers traded for Lavine. But you always hear those rumors, so it's kind of funny. So if you want a long shot bet, there you go. The Detroit Pistons are there at plus 300. That's because rumors came out today that the Pistons were very interested in him. And for me, I'm thinking that the Pistons are a team that could still trade for him anyway because they're not making the playoffs this year, and they might actually get Lavine for cheaper than they would have had he not been injured and out for the year. So his value is already seemingly pretty low. If the Pistons can get him for even lower, I think they might pull the trigger. I think the Pistons are going to do something a little dumb and crazy at this deadline, and I think trading for Lavine might be one of those things. So it's not great money with the plus 300, so I would maybe shy away from it. As you can see at the top, the Lakers were minus 110, so BetUS heavily favored the Lakers as landing Lavine before the injury news. I would be shocked now if the Lakers traded for him, given that news. The Heat, I don't think the Heat are going to trade for him, but I mean they could, I guess. I'd be surprised if the Heat did it too, just because like a lot of these teams, if they trade for him, they're giving up on this year. So I don't really know. If Joel Embiid's out for the year, maybe the 76ers acquire him for cheap. I think that might be a good value bet there. But if Embiid's going to be back this year at all, I don't think they risk trading for him and taking up their salary for next year. Yeah, I don't really know. Memphis is another team on there that could possibly see value in trading for someone for cheap this year, and then having him next year when Ja should be back and all that. But they have Bane and Ja already, so I don't know if they would be looking to add another guard to that. A lot of the other teams might have trouble matching salary and all that. I don't think the Knicks are going to trade for him. Yeah, I mean, Rockets are a wild card. I guess anything could happen, but I'd also be surprised if they traded for him. Maybe a long shot like the Brooklyn Nets. They might at some point realize that they're not doing anything this year and go for next year. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't even get traded now. So yeah, that's where I feel about Zach Lavine. Let's move on to Jordan Clarkson. Now he's rumored to be on the move from Utah, and I mean Utah is a it's a rebuilding team, but they've now for the second straight year had periods where they've looked really good and kind of outperformed expectations. I still think they move some of their vets this year and go full rebuild. I don't think they're going to move Markkanen or anything like that, but players like Clarkson and Olynyk and stuff like that, I think should probably get moved if they're being smart. So Clarkson is a guy who could mess with the Brogdon value or the teams that would want Brogdon. It's rumored that Clarkson and the New York Knicks could strike a deal. I just don't think that's a great fit for New York. I feel like Brogdon fits a lot better. So I'm interested to see the odds here for Clarkson to New York. And it's even money. So BetUS is saying that the New York Knicks are the favorite to land Clarkson. And to me, that's, even though that seems bad for Portland, I think that's really good for them because that means that they think the Knicks are definitely trading for a guard. And I think Brogdon is just so much smoother of a fit. And I think he can score maybe not quite as good as Clarkson, but everything else he does better. He's a better passer. He's a better defender. He fits better within the team concept. And it's also a little bigger, so you don't have to worry about him playing next to Brunson as much as you would with Clarkson. So I'd be surprised if the Knicks traded for Clarkson over Brunson or over Brogdon. Sorry. But the thing is, if Portland doesn't trade Brogdon, the Knicks might the Knicks might have to do something. So I don't know if even money is a good bet there. I would probably stay away from that. I don't really like a lot of these other odds. Maybe the Lakers down at plus 700. The Heat just traded for Rozier, so that's probably out. Mavericks still have Kyrie and Luka, so I don't know if they're going to be trading for him. The 76ers could probably use some guard scoring, so that's not a bad bet. But yeah, other than that, I mean, maybe the Timberwolves, good long shot bet. Really seeing anything that sticks out for me, but still interesting odds there on Clarkson. Next up, we have DeMar DeRozan, another Chicago Bull. Now, he's in the last year of his contract, so it opens up a lot of possibilities there. I think a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, to me, they're sitting there at plus 250, which is tied with the Knicks for the second best odds behind Miami. Miami just gave up a first for Rozier, like we talked about. I could still see them trading for DeRozan, but I would put my money right now on the 76ers because it gives them an opportunity to still use cap space this summer if they want to move on for DeRozan. I don't think the asking price is going to be super high, but then again, the odds plus 250 aren't great. But if out of all these teams, I would say that Philly is the best bet there. Yeah, there's some other fits, but yeah, I don't think Memphis would trade for him. Sacramento could be a wild card in some of these now that Lavine is off the table, because that was another team that was heavily rumored to be interested in Lavine. But now they might have to switch to something else if they're looking to add another piece for their playoff push. Yeah, Phoenix Suns don't have many picks or anything to trade, so I don't think they would get DeRozan. Nuggets, same thing. They don't have a lot of trade pieces to acquire a player like that. So yeah, I'm looking pretty much at the Philadelphia 76ers are really the only one that makes a ton of sense. He's been rumored for years to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, so that's always a possibility, I guess, especially now that Lavine's out of the equation. So yeah, Lakers might be a decent value bet as well. All right, next up we got Bojan Bogdanovic of the Detroit Pistons. Let's take a look at his odds. He's got a pretty decent contract to trade, and the Pistons have been rumored to have passed on 2 first-round picks for him last year. Just absolutely crazy for a team that's that bad to pass up on that kind of value for Bogdanovic. But he's still a good player and could still help a lot of teams. So I think he gets moved, and a lot of these teams are interesting for him. Minnesota Timberwolves at plus 200 is the favorite. Yeah, I think he'd be a pretty good fit with Minnesota, although, if you play Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns a lot, it doesn't provide a lot of minutes at the 4. Philly is another team that we just talked about. I think he's a good fit for them. Not sure if they pull the trigger on him or not. Lakers, like we just mentioned, also always come into play here. I think Golden State Warriors are a sneaky team that I think he would fit really well on the Warriors, but I'm not sure if the Pistons would want anything. I don't think they're going to trade Kuminga for Bogdanovic, so probably not a great trade partner, but that's probably why the odds are so high on Andrew Wiggins going to Detroit, because Golden State might do that. So you maybe you can play double odds. So like if you really think Bogdanovic is going to be a Golden State Warrior, then you trade. You also bet on the Wiggins odds for Detroit, and you could win a lot of money doing it that way. Because if Golden State and Detroit make a trade, then you get the payout for both Bogdanovic and for Wiggins. So I would look for something like that as well. But I really think the team that stands out the most to me here, and it's kind of sneaky, is the Orlando Magic. I think they're looking for shooting. They have a glut of guards and could possibly move one of them. And so at plus 800, I kind of like them as an outside chance. I don't know. I haven't heard anything tied to them, but it seems like they're kind of itching to make a small move or something, and this could be it. And then, like we talked about, the Kings, they've been rumored on a lot of these teams, so I think the Kings could possibly sneak in there as well. Plus 600. The Kings are going to be great odds because that's BetUS is also thinking the same thing, that the Kings are going to trade some. But plus 600 isn't bad. That means, so if you bet $100, you win $600 if it happens. Finally, this isn't a trade one, but I saw this on there and I thought it would be fun to talk about a little bit. And that is Bronny James. He's a freshman at USC. They actually have odds on which team will draft Bronny. And I wanted to include this because down near the bottom, we have the Portland Trailblazers at plus 4,000. Now, I don't think they have dreams of luring LeBron, his dad, to Portland or anything. But with 2 early second-round picks, teams that have bets in that range, it just seems like a good opportunity. It's probably not going to happen, but, like, if you have a team with multiple early second-round picks, they could take a chance on one of those being Bronny and coming with that whole LeBron thing. So I would look for a team in that range to maybe take advantage of one of their picks and hope that LeBron comes. But like I said, I don't know if that's Portland. I just know they have a couple of high second round picks at the moment. The team I'm looking at here, well, there's a couple. I think the Thunder, that would be really crazy if you had LeBron end up in OKC playing with Bronny. And there was a rumor today, or not a rumor, but it came out today, LeBron refused to answer or clarify whether he'd be picking up his player option for the Lakers next year. So I think he's going to keep his options open as well. So OKC is a team that, man, if they added LeBron, they're already looking pretty scary this year, and LeBron could, win a title with another team at the end of his career. That would be insane. But for me, even though the Lakers are plus 200, and yeah, that makes a ton of sense. The Lakers, they probably will find a way to get Bronny if he comes out of the draft this year. But it's not fun to just bet on the favorite at plus 200. So my scenario, the New York Knicks, they're at plus 800. There's LeBron got massive ovation at Madison Square Garden when he played there over the weekend. And so I think the Knicks are definitely interesting. LeBron's made comments about how he would always thought about maybe playing for the Knicks. So yeah, definitely interesting. But my favorite here, and this would be an awesome story if Alex Wolf is watching this, he'd love that I'm mentioning it here. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers at plus 900. Man, they have the 23rd pick currently. I don't think that's too big of a reach to use that on Bronny. I have a hard time seeing a team above 22 or above 23 going after Bronny. So that to me is great value right there. Can you imagine Cleveland drafting LeBron's son and then him returning for one last run at a title at 40 years old, or however old he'd be when he finally comes over? So I could definitely see Bronny going to Cleveland in the draft, and that would be a really cool story. So I'd put my money on the plus 900 there for Bronny. All right, that's going to do it for my look at the odds for next teams on BetUS. Once again, use the link in the description below to get 125% off on your first deposit at BetUS. It's free money. Go make some bets and win. It's so fun, but also do it responsibly. But yeah, I mean, it makes things very interesting when you have money riding on stuff. So have some fun with it, but you don't have to take it too seriously. Just have fun. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. For Blazers Uprise, I'm Eric Brandt. And until next time, peace out. Go Blazers.